Let's talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The multiplayer specifically, right? Okay, so we went to Infinity Ward several weeks ago at this point. Got to play a lot of multiplayer.
We did.
Yeah, it was a
generous portion.
A generous portion of multiplayer. In general, Dantac, what do you think about the multiplayer for Modern Warfare?
Well, it's hard to say in general because honestly, the stuff we played is very different from one another in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So what do we play, Dan?
So, well, we played a lot of things. So we played the new Search and Destroy, which is called Cyber Attack, and it has some pretty critical differences. We played traditional team deathmatch. We played with the realism mode. We played with night mode. We played Ground War. We'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah.
And more than anything, I think the most interesting thing, one of the most interesting things, was the gun customization, the gunsmith. I barely got, although we got plenty of time with it, I wanted a lot more.
Yeah, so gunsmith is what they're calling just their insane loadout system here. So
customization for your guns.
As they described it, we wanted your gun to be an MMO character at this point. So is that number's not final, but around 50 to 60 attachments for these guns.
Pretty ridiculous.
Wild.
Yeah.
And all Call of Duty games have gun customization, right? But it gets pretty, like I said, I really tried to break the system. I'm sure everyone will, by just getting as crazy as I possibly could with attachments. And we also played, of course, a mode that most people know about by now, and that's Gunfight.
Don't be confused. Gunsmith is different from Gunfight.
Right. So Gunfight is basically Call of Duty distilled and stripped down to the very essence of a 2v2 1-minute match.
Yes.
And it's
1 minute rounds, right?
And seeing what they 40-second rounds, but I'm just saying in general they're gonna be like a minute, right?
Sure.
Because it's not gonna go over because there's a flag cap. But anyway, I find that I think this mode is. I've been watching what they've shown off online, and playing it and watching it are two very different things. It looks kind of sterile when you watch the videos, but you don't really.
Well, because I think you need the reactions, because that's the thing. You can tell when we're playing all these different modes, people would react. We're having a fine time, and then when it was time for gunfight, people are screaming.
Oh, it's so intense because you're laser focused, me and my friend versus them and their friend, and it's all down to me now. It's all done. It's 2v1. It's all down to me.
It's 2v2 set guns for each team.
No respawn.
Right. Yeah.
And one of the really cool things I think that this game is going to resonate with, this mode, is not just the traditional Call of Duty audience, but the couch co-op crowd is going to love you can play with your friend on the couch against another team online. There are automated tournaments.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you got brackets and everything, and you can watch other players play as you move through the bracket, and it's just sort of like a sit and go. You just jump in, boom, run it.
I love it. And it's kind of they described it as an evolution of Face Off, Modern Warfare 3. It also feels a little bit like the absurdity of Gun Game, which was a mode I loved in previous Call of Duty games.
Everybody loves Gun Game.
Okay, great. But seriously, Gunfight is the most fun that I had with Modern Warfare overall when we were playing. It was such a blast.
It's so simple and elegant. Sure, I'll use that word. It's just they can tailor the pool of stuff that you can be drawing out of to make it very interesting. They can have event weekends, events, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, they talked about okay, maybe we'll have a future event where there will be revives or these certain guns, or you'll be able to pick up all the guns on the map, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was and it's cool that everybody has the same loadout, and it's from a list of different recipes, they called them, where it's all right, this one you have a sniper rifle and a shotgun, so it's all right, how do I want to approach this? Or you have a pistol and a rocket launcher or something like that.
You have to be ready to use whatever they throw at you, and it's a lot of fun. It's oh god, I got a pistol, now we're gonna have a shootout here.
Yeah. And they did talk about the idea too of maybe in the future we'll have kind of drafts and bans, so you can choose what the enemy team will get and stuff, and there seems like there's a lot of room to grow. But I think we all left with that same impression of had a blast with it. God, I hope it is fun for a long time.
I have no doubt that people are going to love it.
Hope it has some legs.
Staying power, it's because it is so distilled. It's
right.
You don't have that progression or customization you do in other modes. So we'll see. Obviously we'll see.
Yes, they definitely want to offer a lot of customization in there. They compared it to Perfect Dark for the level of customization they're hoping to have for Gunfire. It's all right, that's music to my ears. And then it's also just funny, the other comparisons they made, where it's it kind of harkens back to a GoldenEye or even a Rocket League level of simplicity, just straight up competition. They compared it to Street Fighter 2. Then they also talked about how everybody that plays in the studio has different plays. So okay, let's flush the rabbit out of this corner because it's mathematical. They're either here, or here.
The maps for this particular mode are completely symmetrical. So there's no. You know exactly where everything's going to be on both teams.
Right. And also the thing that they're talking a lot about was that it's all custom geo for these. It's not going to be another map. It's boiled down, custom made just for Gunfight, which is pretty expensive from developer level.
They are tiny maps designed to encourage it to I'm talking real small. You could throw a rock from where you start and they would hit the other player. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And one of the more interesting things I thought when we were having, when we were talking about that is like they were just fooling around when they created that mode. They were just like testing things out.
And it came from 2 designers apparently.
Yeah, they're like, we have to test things really fast, so let's just make a really small 2v2 environment to test everything. And it's like, well, you know what? This is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Boom.
It reminds me of the same vibe. I don't think it'll be as big or as important overall for Call of Duty, but it reminds me of the Black Ops 4 coverage trip. Like
the zombies.
Oh, no, I was going different, actually.
Really?
Just the amount of energy that was in Treyarch last year for Blackout.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because we're playing so many other multiplayer modes, and then this one mode, it's like, clearly the studio knew it was so fun. When we were playing it, people were screaming their head off. Like, it's a similar
Battle Royales
vibe.
create big experiences, and
Right.
I love them.
God love them.
I do.
Yeah, that was my favorite mode. But let's see, want to run down other stuff?
Oh, God, yeah. So
Cyber attack, maybe real quick we can run down.
Cyber attack. So, oh gosh, what is it like? It's like search and destroy, but you don't have attacking and defending teams. You just have the one objective for both teams. So they both have to cap and plant. And they have it's a fast plant, it's a fast cap. Well, no, it's a fast plant.
Fast defuse, right?
Yeah. And when you're holding the thing, you can see everybody on the enemy team, so you can kind of stealth your way to the bomb site. One of the coolest elements of the mode, you only have 1 life, but you do not have any timer on being picked up by your team. So you can be resurrected at any time once you're downed. So this creates this very interesting push and pull. Like if you're on the team who has the bomb, you want to go plant it and defend it, that gives the other team, like let's say you crushed them at the beginning, they're down 3. One guy can go get everybody else up and then surge the bomb site. It's a very, it's way too early to call if I like the mode or not. We played it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I like it. I had fun with the time we played. It's a neat take on that whole team scenario.
I really like I think at one point it was 3-on-1 on my team. Like we had 3, they had 1 left, and it was like, all right, we can either kill that guy or try to make a play for the bomb. And it's like if you wipe out their entire team, you win by default. But if you plant the bomb, so it's like, all right, well, it's not gonna be able to stop all of us. So we made a play for the bomb, and then that guy in that time res 2 of his buddies. So it was like, oh great, now it's 3v3, and then they came and wiped out 2 of our guys, and now it was 3v1 on theirs. So
yeah,
the 1 life plus infinite timeline res makes it a pretty suspenseful match the whole way through. I think
for sure.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Here's a weird one. Played headquarters, domination, some older modes.
Sure.
But the wrinkle, at least for headquarters and ground war, which we'll talk more about next week, vehicles, baby.
Yeah, and yeah, especially when we talk about ground war. But yeah, and they even have anti-vehicle oriented tools for you to use, like proximity mines and stuff like that. Although I must tell you, the proximity mines are also very effective against players if they don't know they're there.
Yeah,
you can straight up GoldenEye an area out and just be like, hey, I dare you to come in here.
Yeah, it's just weird to see Call of Duty now since Black Ops 4. All right, embracing vehicles again. Here we go.
Yeah.
Different controls.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Then Blackout.
We asked
Very
about that.
frustrating. Yes, in the rapid fire interview, which will be launching on Wednesday next week, I believe.
Is it Wednesday or
which
is
will-
it Tuesday?
I think it's Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday.
Check back, gameformer.com/Modern Warfare. We'll get it out there, man. It'll be a fun time. Which is very weird after playing so much Blackout to jump on the ATV, and it's like, wait a minute, now it's R2 to move? It's no longer just moving forward? Okay, different teams?
Different
That's
games,
right.
different controls.
Apparently. Let's see. One of the more interesting things, too, was their emphasis on it's not exactly a mode. They were unclear if it's a playlist, what form it's going to take in the game, but what they're calling realism.
It's a modifier. It's
Okay.
it's like hardcore, but it's not quite hardcore. Call of Duty fans are familiar with the hardcore setting.
Yeah.
So there's no HUD. You do have full life as opposed to half life like you do in hardcore, but headshots are still deadly.
Yeah.
Deadlier was the wording, and that by itself is not that exciting. It's a cool twist, like a little subtle twist. But when you combine realism with night, I think that is what really was the insane diversion from anything that I have ever come to expect from Call of
It
Duty.
was very intense.
Like this was like not like a Rainbow Six Siege thing, but it is even more tactical than that. Like
It's a horror game.
it's a horror. You want to put it that way? Fine. Like
Yeah.
we're talking, you take your night vision goggles off, you can't see anything. I'm talking pitch black.
For
And, like,
certain parts of the map. at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, and of course using lighting. It's fascinating how they did this. Like they used lighting as a tool. Like if you get a blast of light in your face while you're wearing the NVG, then it's going to blind you.
And you can turn the lights on.
Yeah,
and
and
off.
there's light switches you can flick
there's
on
light
and off.
switches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like-
strategically flipping on a light.
Yeah, the
switch.
whole
That's
thing
so
was like
fun.
instead of being like, all right, run and gun, kill everybody, get my kill streak going. This was more like crawling around the
yeah.
dirt, trying to stay quiet while you don't know if somebody's behind you.
I love
And
it,
speaking
man.
of things that were kind of born out of in development like processes, they said this was something that came out of like a glitch where it's like, oh, the HUD disappeared. And like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah,
just
keep
like
it in there
Gunfight, where it was
apparently,
like just like for testing.
I have no idea how it's going to resonate with the fan base, but it is like people always complain about Call of Duty being the same. This is not the same. This is very, very different.
And like, if you're into the tech side, obviously tech is a big pushing point for the team this year, right? And so how they redesigned night vision gameplay overall and how it's much more realistic. And it's funny, they're talking about like night vision in Call of Duty 4, and like, it was complete BS. Like, it's not really.
It was just an
night
It was
overlay.
just like a green tint.
Right. Yeah, they're like, now this is real night vision.
Yeah, and it's
baby.
cool. Like the thing about realism at night is like if you're looking down the sights, it points a laser so people can see your position. Whereas like if you're not looking down the sights, then they don't really have an idea of where you are unless they see you.
Yeah, again, it's a whole new element. Like you have to, like if you're going to stop and shoot somebody and put an ADS, then everyone's going to know where you are. So you got to be ready to move quick again, real fast.
Yeah, for sure. Other stuff with multiplayer, crossplay. That's exciting, huh?
Full crossplay expected. Yes.
So their wording on it was...
They have to be. They have to.
They
I'm
tempered.
I'm assuming
what's
getting everybody
tempered
on
there?
board is the issue with the.
Either Sony's on board or it's not. And it's that weird
And
wiggle
they may
room of
not
like,
know at this time.
yes, we're fully planning on crossplay. So it's 100% in there. Yeah, was kind of the response in the
again,
studio.
Yeah, it's that basically saying that it's not on them.
Okay.
Right? That's the impression I got.
All right. And they insist that the PC community won't crush. They're planning
Every
on-
time we asked
They-
about it was, hey, man, like when we did the test, console actually won.
They did say
well,
that.
look, again, I don't care about that. I want that data out there in the wild.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where it's, all right, leap of faith that they know what they're doing and they're not going to let the mouse and keyboard just destroy everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it. Personally, I always think keyboard and mouse is a huge advantage, but we will see.
Yes, we'll see. Other things, real quick, multiplayer, dedicated servers and consoles and
Dedicated
PC.
servers,
Yeah,
great.
exciting. All maps will be free. I believe at some point they said, quote, it's one of those things we have to do.
Yep.
No traditional season pass.
Right.
And you can figure out what that means for yourself.
Very confusing.
We've tried very hard to do that.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm running down all these bullet points about multiplayer, but stop me if you guys have something else. But tactical sprint, new thing.
Tactical Yeah.
Sprint. So regular sprint's unlimited, and the tactical sprint lets you go even faster for really bursting through territory.
Yeah. And people say Call of Duty never changes. Well, what if I said
But
they, added doors
That's
to
the thing,
multiplayer?
Call of Duty always changes, but it's not enough to please the people who want something
I
completely
know,
different.
Dan. That was just meant as a segue to talk about doors.
I know, but believe me, I get emails all the time. It's just like, F you, Dan. You were wrong. And they didn't change anything. I'm like, well, they actually
But then they
kinda
go to
changed a ton of
space
stuff.
and then they say, we don't want this.
Back to Call of Duty. Anyways, but they added doors, right? And
Doors, yeah.
I guess, it's in Blackout, stuff like that. But having doors in regular multiplayer, they were hesitant about it. The idea that it changes up the flow, the speed a little bit, because there's multiple ways to even open a door. You can sprint through it and just bust that sucker down. You can shoot through some.
You can peek into it, which was something they were playing around with that we got to see for the first time when we were out there for Infinite Warfare.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, I think there was door peeking in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay. So you're looking down
If
the
I'm wrong,
sights,
I'm
you can
gonna
like
eat some words.
slowly budge through
Yeah.
the door, right? So that'll be a change up. What do you guys think about just the overall like hero stuff?
So yeah, I think that's where the meat is. Everybody always cares about progression, customization for multiplayer. Multiplayer is the lifeblood of Call of Duty. The campaigns, they have a range of being, bad to awesome. But the multiplayer is what keeps people sticking around. And the gunsmith stuff seemed wild from what we saw. Like I just had so much fun making my own. I'm a shotgun guy. Just making various kinds of
They
shotguns.
said you could make a sniper shotgun.
Yes, that's a very good talking point, but it's also true. I
Okay.
mean, that's it's
And it's great how all the components have positives and negatives to them. So it's like, all right, I want this like scope, but it's going to make it so that like it's harder to wield, like it's going to make it slower. So then you have a lighter stock, so it's actually faster. So it kind of sets off the negatives. And it's really cool trying to make a gun like that has all the positives you want without too many negatives.
It's all trade-offs, and I'm sure it's going to be a nightmare to balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things too is you can name your guns, which is very cute. They had a nice line where they're like, "Hey, everybody wants Excalibur. They don't want Broadsword number 3." It's
Yeah.
like, badass.
A couple
man.
other small, subtle things that I think are pretty important. You can change your loadout inside a match.
That's huge.
That's a lot better than having to exit every game and be like, oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
can climb.
Another thing, you can climb and vault. You can copy someone who kills you's loadout. So if you're like, oh god, that was total cheese. What did he get me with? click a button, boom, you got his loadout.
Right.
I like
Pretty
that a
nice.
lot. Yeah.
That's super cool. No, I was trying to lead you to talk about the operators and stuff. It seems like they're dialing back on that, but the way they framed it was, hey,
So-
all the popular games we're looking at had defined characters, so here we go. It's the Coalition versus Allegiance, and there's different hero characters in there.
Right. And so for the heroes, they didn't go with like you having an ultimate ability or anything tied to the hero. Instead, you have cooldown-based abilities based on your kit, which you can change in Gunsmith. They're called field upgrades. So the only thing you change with operators is strictly cosmetic. You got voice lines, your skins, obviously, and the skins are wholesale. So it's not like you can change your gloves or your boots one item at a time. You either take the whole skin or no skin.
Yeah, the real customization sounds like it's within the gunsmith.
No, I mean for cosmetics, definitely
Yeah.
the skins make a difference, but it's like it's an all or nothing kind of thing. You're either wearing skin A or skin B. You're not like dialing down into certain little pieces.
I just meant from like a granular level.
And also another thing you can customize on the operators is that of executions.
There we go.
Okay, so the execution is basically you walk up behind a guy and hit melee.
Apex Legends.
And it's an instant kill,
Uh-huh.
and it has its own animation and graphics. And these are also cosmetics you've got operator specific ones and also ones that you can the cosmetic differences that you can change.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just to reiterate, it's the characters are cosmetic only. Really, like if you hate a character like their voice, you don't have to worry about I really like his ultimate or I really like his passive ability. It's like no, you can just choose another character and keep playing the way you want to play.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is cool.
And in general, I mean, it's interesting hearing. I'm in love with Call of Duty development and the fact that that they trade off between the three studios and just the talking points going on so many of these cover story trips. And it's so fascinating to hear them talk about like we wanted the maps and the general approach to multiplayer for Call of Duty this time around be less of that arena feel, which is very
Yeah.
much where Black Ops has been leaning recently, right?
We
So
were-
that idea of like we want to get rid of the arena aspect of Call of Duty and go back or create a new tactical.
They talked a lot, and there's a lot more of this in the cover story. They talked about like making sure that they were catering to all effective ranges. How they want snipers to have a chance. They want SMGs to have it. They want every range to have a shot at life. All right.
Is that too much to ask for? You wrote a whole cover story for this thing.
I did.
How was
Fascinatingly
that?
enough, it was great.
Okay.
I had a blast doing it.
Can people check it
And I
out
hope people have a blast reading it. You can check it out at GameInformer.com
on Tuesday?
on Tuesday next
Yes,
week. That's
yes,
right.
time
And there's
travel.
lots more details and all kinds of stuff in that article. And not only that, but we've got a month of really cool
You're
stuff.
so good, Dan. GameInformer.com/Modern Warfare. So, bunch of fun video interviews, including the rapid fire, which will be launching next week.
You'll love that.
Okay, great campaign details, some good kind of reflective stuff looking to the past of Call of Duty. And one of the most interesting things about the development of this game, if you really are following the industry, is I don't know if you all remember that whole saga where Respawn was formed from a lot of people leaving Infinity Ward. At this point now, several developers have gone back from Respawn to Infinity Ward and just unpacking their story and what that transition away from an Infinity Ward and then back to Infinity Ward at this time is like. That was the most fascinating part of the trip for me by a mile.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all that stuff on the next episode of the podcast and throughout the month. GameInformer.com/Modern Warfare. That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.